Okay, here's a cool thing. I like this a lot. Platinum Games is making a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game ?
I like how this. So this is still unconfirmed, even though the achievements are out.
They haven't announced this game, but we've already seen achievements, and we've seen a whole bunch of real pretty screenshots.
Yeah.
Holy crap, this game looks cool.
It looks so really pretty.
Cool. Yeah, and Max, you were texting about it, and you were pointing out a bunch of the characters, like what you think are going to be, because they show Bebop and Rocksteady, or they show one of them.
They show Bebop. Bebop's in there. There's also a rock soldier, which leads me to believe that General Trag might be making an appearance.
I don't know what that means at all.
General Trag is a man who looks like if you made the thing from the Fantastic Four, put on a pair of some fatigues and a hat.
That's the best part about him, is that he's made out of rocks and he wears a helmet.
Yeah,
because that's
you got to protect your rocks somehow.
Well, I like this because unlike the the Michael Bay movies, this is sticking very closely to the original. This is kind of what Platinum did with the last Transformers game, which that was received all right. People seem to be.
It was definitely better received than Korra was.
Yeah,
it also looked just as cool. I didn't play it, but it looked very, very cool.
Yeah,
looked gorgeous.
It was fun. It was kind of shallow, but it was fun for what it was.
Yep.
I mean, I love Transformers a whole lot, but you get to a point where like you can only have so much relatability with trucks. You know, like they're never going to be like, well, I mean, they'll be like, I'm going to get a nice slice of Energon pie, and I'm like, I relate to that as someone who eats human food that you're sort of referring to. But
you're just a weird machine truck.
But the Turtles blend themselves well to a kind of brawler like that, fairly shallow Platinum style, rolling around different maneuvers, doing cool things.
I like that it's not doing the Michael Bay thing where it's trying to make them dark. Like when I think of Ninja Turtles, I think of them being goofy and joking together and weird dumb stuff that's really overdramatic happening. Like I like that it's lighthearted.
Brothers who are ninjas and eat pizza in the sewers with their weird rat dads.
Still somehow relatable. Though, is really cool.
And this is kind of appears to exist at sort of a midpoint between the Eastman and Laird comic, which is kind of dark, frankly, even though it's goofy, but it's a black and white comic. And it's got darker themes to it. And the cartoon show, Bebop's presence, for example, or the Rock Soldiers are indicators that they're going that cartoon route. Yeah. But the style reminds me much more of the old comic book that I grew up reading.
I haven't read the comic.
Baxter Stockman does 9/11.
He kind of does, yeah.
Yeah, he does.
Wow.
Yeah.
Baxter Stockman attacks the World Trade Center with Mousers.
Also, he's black.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And April O'Neil is a computer programmer.
He's being played by Tyler Perry in an upcoming film.
What is happening? Is any of this true?
All that's true.
Yeah, all that's true, except the Tyler Perry part.
No, that's actually true.
Is that actually true, too?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
No lies there, Monty.
No lies there.
Cowabunga dudes.
April O'Neil's a computer programmer. Casey Jones is a mentally unstable handyman. And Shredder dies in, like, the first issue. Right?
Spoilers, Jared!
It's a 22-year-old comic book.
Doesn't matter.
It's old enough to drink again.
But yeah, I'm really excited about this game. I think
that the rule. Sorry to cut you off. That if something's old enough to drink, then we're allowed to spoil it.
Okay, well that's a good rule.
So it's
it's an interesting rule. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like,
it might have been the second.
Does it depend on where? Because you can drink in France. And
in Australia, you can talk about something when it's 18. Yeah.
Okay.
That's because it's yesterday.
Is the drinking age 18 in Australia?
Yes.
Okay.
Wait. So. Going on that, I'm wondering, this sort of seems like a thing Platinum is going to do from now on. Like they're going to have their like giant scale bounty things, which isn't coming out till next year. But then they also have seemingly once a year they've somehow gained the rights to all these cool properties. Like, like Korra and like Turtles and like Transformers.
They are actually very different properties too.
Yeah, but they all sort of work and sort of make sense.
I mean, the art style that they have, or the engine that they're using, is totally consistent, and it works with all three of them. Like they obviously adapted to be like Platinum-esque with the way that they look, but it still works in each of those different universes somehow, which I really like.
Yeah.
So my understanding is that and I don't know how much of this is just speculation, hearsay, and how much of this is true. I've sort of heard that they were given the rights to Korra as kind of like an audition type thing for Activision, because they were like, hey. What if we buddied up? And Activision's been making kind of so-so licensed games for a while now. Like, and there's always I think they have maybe a set budget they want to work within, and some developers have trouble with that. But that's why we see this kind of weird sliding scale of quality with like the Spider-Man games or like Deadpool was a extremely okay game.
Yeah,
like it was
you're right. It was totally okay.
Very junk food, but like you got the sense that.
Food.
If that had been tightened up,
it would have been good. Yeah, there was something good underneath the flaws that it had.
If that was in the oven for another year, it would have been a fantastic game.
Totally agree. Yeah.
But yeah, so in this case, I think that they were given Korra and they were like, all right, what are the stakes here? And they're like, it's going to be a $15 downloadable with a license that people will lose their mind over. Make it look good, make it play okay. And they were like, let's see how this did. And it was received so-so.
Yeah, but I think it's sold. I would be willing to bet they make a lot more money off these things than they do off Bayonetta 2. Definitely Bayonetta 2, because that's just sort of what's left to die on
I was reading something about them not thinking that many people would buy Korra. It was like they didn't get as much budget as they did for Transformers because they didn't think that as many of the people who watch Korra would play a video game about it.
I think it ended up selling. I don't know. I think it sold really. I think, like Max said, it was sort of an audition. So I think each of these is going to sell better and better.
It's lower stakes. It's a much less maker. I mean, I think that it's got Nickelodeon in the title. It's going to be a little bit less expectations than Transformers, which is
or Ninja Turtles for sure. Yeah.
I'm so excited about this because it's been so long since we've had a good Ninja Turtles game, just ages and ages. And this,
hey, what about that cool Kinect game?
Oh, what they need to do is, as exciting as this looks. Was
that real?
There's like this maybe it's not out yet, but there's like this Xbox Live arcade game that's like train with the Ninja Turtles, and it's
is it like a fitness game?
It's just like a dumb fighting game thing.
That sounds terrible.
It's not. Yeah, it's just like you punching and.
What somebody needs to create
it's already up.
is a traditional 4-character RPG. That needs to happen, like a turn-based or ATB style RPG with an Ninja Turtles.
I mean, because they are totally
they're a
character
team.
archetypes.
They're a 4-character archetype team.
Totally.
That's awful. That's a
I
terrible
idea.
idea. It's a terrible idea.
Sold. Make it,
It's a terrible idea. Because what you're forgetting is that you're all of the three of you are smart nerds. And the Ninja Turtles are a stupid thing for children, and I love them to death. But like, that's totally like, whoa, man! What if they made an X-Men themed cooking show because I like these two things? And it's like,
I would totally watch that.
Yeah, 4 people would watch that.
So would I.
Okay, well there you go.
Do you remember those?
That would make the sales.
Remember
right
those old X-Men cards in the '90s where like there was like the beach ones? It's like Wolverine. And he had all these hot dogs he was cooking on his.
I remember that
on his claws from the fire.
Yeah,
I totally get your point, but I feel like Ninja Turtles does actually have a pretty old audience. Because it's been around for so long that a lot of people who like Ninja Turtles, it's not weird for you to be 30 and like Ninja Turtles at this point.
No, but I think there's a fundamental they need to punch things in the face. I think turn-based is it shouldn't.
Well, I don't know about turn-based.
I mean, they are reactive. Turtles, but the whole thing is that the whole underlying fundamental gag of the Ninja Turtles is that they are a slow-moving animal that is ninjas.
Well, what about a Tales?
Wait, I just get that.
What about like a Tales of Symphonia type system where it's practically a fighting game in the RPG
I like
windows?
That. I like everything Jared's saying. I want this game.
What about just a nice beat 'em up where
Jared.
you fight
Contact
General
Activision.
Trag in a sewer?
Oh, I want to play that too.
Yeah,
I want the Rat King to show up. The
Rat King's absolutely showing up.
Yeah, that's gonna happen.
He's gonna be running around somewhere there.
Yeah.
You know what I want in this? I'm going to list my 5 things I want in this game that we may not get. I want the Rat King.
Okay.
I want the Mutagen Man.
I don't know
Okay.
what that is.
I want Mondo Gecko.
That's not real.
Whoa.
I want Ray Fillet.
Uh-huh.
And I want
Hateful
Type of
Eight?
food?
Napoleon Bonafrog and those nasty frog boys from Dimension X.
Wait, no Usagi Jumbo? None?
Usagi Ojimbo, can Usagi suck it? I don't want any of that feudal nonsense.
What is that? Are any of these real?
Yeah, he made those all up.
I want Fugitoid, but he can get his own game. Give me
He's real. He's a
Freakazoid?
robot. He's got a funny head.
Fugitoid is a real robot.
Yeah, he's a real robot. He's from the comic.
Wasn't there a shark
He had his
man
own
called
comic.
Armageddon?
Huh?
Wasn't there a shark man named Armageddon? I remember him from Turtles Tournament Fighter.
Actually, I think he was made up for that game.
Oh, never
Possibly.
mind.
Yeah, I think he was, almost certainly. Just like there were a couple of bosses made up for the home version of the NES Turtles too.
Just like Ninja Turtles is completely made up.
Yeah.
Wait,
So.
no, ninjas and turtles are real though.
And there was that guest appearance by Cerebus in the comic. There were a bunch of them.
The Hellhound?
Yeah, but he looked more like a
No.
rhino with a sword.
No,
Nah, the other
he's like an
Cerberus.
aardvark, isn't he?
He looks like he looks kind of like a rhino. Is he an aardvark?
There was a part in the
doesn't
80s
have a nose,
and early 90s when comic books were just high as
He is an aardvark.
A lot of drugs.
Like, yeah. I mean, like, I love the formation of Ninja Turtles as this like massively successful global brand because it started out with Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird, and they were snowed in their crappy apartment in Amenia, New York, and they were like playing this game where I'm pretty sure how it works is you take a fat bong rip and then you go, I bet you can't draw this, and you say something. There might not have been a bong there. I don't know, but it does
Just
kind
helps
of
with the
it
narrative.
fits the narrative.
Yeah.
But they were like, I bet you can't draw a turtle with nunchucks, and they were like, hey, that's pretty cool. And then they took a tax return and they went down to Kinko's and they got a bunch of copies printed up and they sold them at the local comic shops.
Okay, so
See,
aside from the fat bong rips, is that a true story?
That's a totally true
Yeah,
story.
the
I love
napkin they
that.
draw.
Yeah.
I think the fat bong rips are definitely a part of the story.
It again,
Real,
you know,
a couple
Wait,
real deep tokes.
fits the narrative. And then Playmates Toys was like, we want to get in the toy game. And it's like, what have you been doing? They're like, we made collectible sand or
but
something.
they succeeded. The fact that they were able to transform it from this kind of bizarre comic book into a really pretty well done at the beginning, kid-friendly show. Those first 5 episodes in particular are really good of Ninja Turtles, except for the weird unintentional racism where they're dressed up as... Like,
it's also super sexist. There's a lot of real gross stuff.
Yeah,
also, anytime like one of them goes out into the city and is wearing a trench coat and a hat and looks like he's like a flasher, I get really uncomfortable. When it's like Donatello's just gonna
that's one thing I really loved
go to
about
a mall and freak out.
I really love that about like when the Ninja Turtles do that, or when in Watch Dogs when Aiden Pierce is like, time to be sneaky, and he like pulls up his bandana and he literally looks like the guy they put up on signs to be like, watch out for criminals that could watch. Like, could you look like like put on a jersey or put on like a backwards hat?
It's like his bag should literally be like a burlap sack with a money sign on it.
Yeah,
like that's,
put on something that looks like just 5 times less like a cartoon criminal.
That's
I mean,
funny.
to be fair, it's really hard to differentiate him from every other Ubisoft protagonist.
There is that.
He's just another white dude
creepy
with stubble.
dad.
I'm really upset about things.
I've got to get to my daughter's birthday.
I hated that guy so much.
I'm time to
Oh my
act.
god, he is a terrible protagonist.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really hope
infuriating.
if Watch Dogs 2 takes
I think
place in
Watch
San
Dogs 2 is
Francisco,
gonna be great.
I think it's gonna be great too. But I just hope it's
No, Aiden
not
Pierce.
him.
Yeah.
You know how you
Anyone
make
else.
Watch Dogs 2 interesting? Is you have just an insufferable messenger bag wearing hipster protagonist who's like a barista by day. And you just hate him right out the gate, but then you give him a fixie bicycle and you make him ride the hills real fun.
Yeah.
Real good. He's got to deliver.
He's doing the zigzags
He's
around
got to
Lombard.
deliver letters.
Got
or
a
something.
scarf on in the summer, trailing behind him as he goes down the hill.
If he was a real tech bro in the city, he'd be bombing with a razor scooter.
But it wouldn't be a
would
tech
be.
bro. You could be taking out the Razor Scooter boys with your fixed bicycle.
Okay.
Do people still ride fixies?
I don't know.
Probably in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Wait, so I think the point I was trying to get at 20 minutes ago. What other cartoon would you like to see Platinum work on?
Ooh, great question. Think about that.
But this is beyond everyone's favorite Ninja Turtles podcast.
I love that.
This might be the most anyone's ever talked about Ninja Turtles. No, your show probably.
Does this have to be commercially successful, or is
No,
it
like
just
what would you
something
want to see? Like, I think
Thundercats.
Telltale Samurai Jack.
Ooh.
Except it's platinum.
Oh God! Just reskin like Metal Gear Rising.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
That'd
Samurai
be
Jack.
so cool.
Yeah. I was thinking like Evangelion. I want to see them do little mechs that fight each other, and then you do weird. You kiss your sister, whatever that show was about.
I think there is one Evangelion game, and it's
Not
trash.
good.
Yeah.
It's a pachinko machine.
Really?
No, I mean, my friend has an Evangelion pachinko machine, and it sounds like the end of the world. Like it sounds like
Well,
the
that's
rapture.
fitting.
When
It's
you win,
really
does it go
horrible.
like congratulations, congratulations?
it does.
It's like every time
Congratulations.
Shinji
I mean,
talks.
when you win, it sounds like somebody shooting your house with ball bearings. Like it's just like
When you win, your
That's totally
dad judges you.
it starts playing like Cruel Angel's Thesis.
The best thing about Evangelion is how often Shinji is playing Saturn. I think
Shinji
that's,
sucks. Don't say poor
Yeah,
Shinji.
he's a whiny
Shinji's the
little-
worst.
Shinji's really bad, yeah.
Yeah.
But he had to have a Sega Saturn. That's why it was so sad.
You know,
So
be
if
the-
they didn't have any of the humans, then I would totally play an Evangelion
So is this
game.
about robots?
But then, I mean, who's piloting?
What if
Doesn't matter.
What if they made an Evangelion game where you only played as humans, and the entire point of the game was just to get in the robot? You just played as Shinji, and that was the end
I
goal.
feel like I would be ripping. I'd just be so mad. I would be ripping my hair out if I had
And
to
you
play a
just-
whole game as Shinji, just trying to get to Unit
but
1.
like you have to keep.
This is making
I don't
me
know.
mad just thinking about
You
it.
have to keep doing things to remind. You have to talk to your friends to
Talk
get
to
your
your
friendship
dad.
meter up, because otherwise you
Yeah.
forget that you think that everyone hates you.
Increase your dad
And you
meter.
go talk to what's his face with his watermelon garden. But
God, I haven't watched Evangelion in a while.
You gotta
It's all
hide
this
from-
is like, oh yeah, there's
Just go play Final Fantasy VII. It's
You
the
gotta
same thing.
go hide from
not talking about
Asuka.
this anymore. This is not the time and place.
You gotta go return your
Shinji
glasses to
totally
Ray.
is Cloud though.
Fall over.
I just want to play as that cool penguin boy.
Yeah, I
Oh
like
yeah,
Pen
everyone's
Pen.
favorite
Yeah,
Penguin Boy.
Yeah, you gotta
So-
get drunk
Yeah,
with
he's
Misato.
Evangelion, Samurai Jack. What about you guys?
Thundercats.
Oh, Thundercats is really
So it's weird that Ninja Turtles has always had good, like for the most part, always has good video games. It is for some reason just really tied. I think it was perfect timing there. Transformers and He-Man both came out like a few years prior,
Yeah.
and I think at that point there was like just licensed video games weren't a thing. Like it just didn't work. So there's like a few like weird Commodore games. Thundercats also goes in this pile. I think we've gotten maybe a decent He-Man game somewhere around there, like more recently with like the nostalgia type thing.
Yeah.
We've definitely gotten good Transformers games kind of in the wake of the Michael Bay stuff, which
Yeah.
is an odd silver lining to that whole thing. But like no Thundercats. There's never been like a proper ass just big Thundercats game. There might be some handheld crap, but like I would love to see just a cool game where you can play as all those different cat people.
Yeah, those characters are practically made for a video game.
I'm thinking Sailor Moon.
Wonderful archetypes. What's
Sailor
that?
Moon would be rad.
Sailor Moon.
Yeah.
Oh, there have been a lot of those.
Platinum would
Sailor Moon
do an
Platinum game.
amazing
Yeah, I feel like
Platinum.
that would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some halfway decent Sailor Moon arcade brawlers and fighting games both.
What about pachinko machines?
But I'd love to see.
Yeah, I've seen a fighting game, but I've never seen one of the.
Yeah,
arcade brawlers.
there are brawlers as well. I played one in a game center in Nagoya once.
What about Doug?
Oh, Doug Funny?
Yeah, what if Platinum makes a Doug game?
Oh,
what would you do?
Killer Tofu.
What if
Tofu?
I wanna
the Doug
see- what if
experience.
Jonathan Blow's next game's a Doug game? Where you're walking around Funnyville or wherever that
That'd be
place is
great,
called.
yeah.
Wait,
I don't
Funnyville.
even remember what Doug did ever.
He's always trying to kiss that girl.
He
just
wanted,
wanted to kiss-
he wanted
kiss
to
a
be in a
hot
relationship
girl.
with
A real
Patty
hot kiss.
Mayonnaise. He hung out with his best friend. He stayed with his dog Pork Chop, and he listened to Killer Tofu on the
I was a
radio.
fan of his dog.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of dogs.
Doug
Really?
was a
Dogs?
Doug
Yeah,
sucked. Doug was a piece of shit.
What's wrong with Doug?
Doug sucks.
Like Doug himself or the show?
Doug is like Michael Cera, the show. Like he's the most insufferable.
totally is.
He's like, oh, just moved into a town with my dog. Nothing exceptional about me.
He was good-hearted, though.
regular guy.
He's like
kind.
he was a victim of mediocrity, and you were supposed to sort of empathize with him, but he was just
But
this.
it was actually just boring.
He was
was
11
just-
and a half. That's
Max,
like the worst
you're
age.
the
ever.
Roger Klotz
12.
of this podcast.
Good.
You're a big green bully.
Roger Klotz is fantastic. He's an interesting character. He's got cowboy boots and a cat.
Yeah.
He does
I got
have
those
cowboy
things.
Wow, you really are Roger Klotz.
Yeah, he's got a single mom. He's got some issues. I keep saying.
You said it again.
You can say it as long as it's in reference to a previous one.
I like Rugrats.
Really?
No, of course not, Alana.
That doesn't-
That was the second
that
one of
doesn't
Marty's
add up.
lies.
Oh.
You're not getting the prize.
Glad I called you out on it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of funny that like the Nicktoons, like it's in the same way Ninja Turtles got like it just for whatever reason it got a lot of really good video games. Like
Yeah.
Nicktoons kind of missed out on that. Like there's
I
like
feel
a
like Ninja Turtles just translates really well into a video game.
Well, wait, how many good Ninja Turtles games do you think there actually were? I mean,
there's
Turtles 2,
Turtles 2.
Turtles in Time.
Turtles in Time.
Turtles in Time,
There's
right.
the Tournament Fighters.
Yeah.
Do you think that's? I mean, it's okay. Have you played it in a while? It's not actually really very good.
I think it's okay.
It's passable,
look
yeah.
at it. Look at it. It's beautiful.
passable.
It's for like a licensed fighting game
Yeah.
made by what? Acclaim was that?
I don't think they actually.
Was it Konami?
I don't think they developed it.
Yeah.
No, it
Konami had
was-
the rights, but
yeah.
it was,
That
I mean,
one-
it was like a. It shouldn't have existed, let alone been playable.
Yeah, it's okay.
You can be the
It's
Rat
okay.
King in it.
Huh?
Yeah. So it's a good game.
Yeah.
Max is sold.
You be a Rat King.
There was one of the Game Boy games that was really good, like the last one to come out. The one you play is Michelangelo most of the time and rescue the others. That's actually a really good game.
Do you think that dude did a lot of tokes?
What, Michelangelo?
Yeah. He's
a party dude.
absolutely.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember reading in the Ninja Turtles role
Probably all
playing game.
answered that seriously, though.
No,
We're all like, yeah, you know, I think
yeah, I
you
think it would totally.
A couple tokes.
Palladium Books did a wonderful pen and paper RPG about Ninja
God,
Turtles.
you really would hit it off with my brother. Where you make up your own mutants and crap. He's
Yeah.
told me about this thing.
Yeah, totally. It had a really innovative like mutation system. It was really well written. Eric Wojcik did it. R.I.P. Anyway, great.
Who?
It was a
Who
one of
are
the-
we RIPing?
Okay, one of the great role-playing game writers from the golden era of pen and paper RPGs. Okay. But where was I going with this? Oh, yeah, it said in the description of Michelangelo, I remember in the book, it said, Michelangelo is the Ninja Turtle most likely to play a role-playing game. I remember that. That's
cool.
Yeah, I was
So
talking
at
about
some
his
point
character.
we're
also
going to move
totally-
on from Ninja Turtles, but before we do, who's everyone's favorite?
Donatello.
Same.
Michelangelo or Raphael.
Leonardo, because he gets all the hate. He's got Cyclops syndrome, and I always felt sorry for him.
I
Also,
hate Cyclops.
What a great way to pick your favorite character. No wonder we want a Doug game.
also,
I feel bad for him, therefore he's a good character.
One guy fights with forks, one guy fights with chains, one guy fights with a stick, and one guy fights with a pair of swords.
Yeah, but he never cuts anybody. He cuts down chandeliers and knocks
in the
over
movie.
ladders and
He
stuff.
cuts people in the awesome first Ninja Turtles movie, which I really like. He cuts people in that.
Wow, those movies are real bad.
Oh, the
No,
first
those are
one.
pretty
First
good.
one's
Those are
pretty
pretty
good.
good movies.
First one's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Real bad. I bet they're wearing trench coats all the time. Those movies.
They are
Yeah.
wearing trench coats a lot, but really the
a
jump,
selling point.
like the jump between the first and the second, it is a steep descent. That first movie is kind of pretty good.
Yeah, no, I agree.
So The Witness is $40.
No, hold up. No.
No, more on Ninja Turtles. All right.
Shut it down.
All right.
We're going to talk about Ninja Turtles.
Okay.
It's raining out. It's a sad time of year. We're going to talk about Ninja
it's
Turtles.
raining.
No,
There's
it
not a
is
lot of
actually
news,
a
so we're
very
talking
sad
about-
time of year.
There's a theory I have that people who like Donatello best are good people. I just have always found that people who are like, yeah, I like Donatello the best. It's sort of like it's kind of like this Voight Kampf test for friends, and there's a similar one for Dragon Ball Z, where people who like Krillin or Tien or Yamcha best are like nice people.
Yeah.
And it's like if you're like,
Rooting for the underdog.
these aren't really the most exciting characters, but if you gravitate towards them, you're probably not a murderer. Okay. But I mean, I just like to think that maybe
DBZ's
most people
totally
aren't
Goku for
murderers.
Wait, who's your favorite? Goku?
Yeah, who's your favorite?
He's awful, but I love him.
Goku's
I
great.
interrupted you rudely. I apologize.
No, it's fine.
I think as a kid, my favorite was Trunks because I was obsessed with time travel. I don't think I like him
Trunks
anymore.
is John Connor. He's great. Future Trunks.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Trunks. Trunks is cool.
I like that when Brian's not here because we can talk about Dragon Ball Z. And he's not like, duh, shut up, spaghetti time.
Teresa! Teresa!
Yeah.
Classic
So,
Brian.
so if you don't like Donatello best, does that mean you're not a good person?
I don't know.
No, it's just like a thing where someone does like that thing, it's an indicator. It doesn't, if they don't, it's not like you're evil. You know?
Yeah, there's probably some like
Donatello's great.
what is it, Myers-Briggs logic there, where it's like
Okay.
if you like Donatello, you might be this personality type. I don't know.
ENFP.
Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Donatello, I like that he makes like also he would totally be the one most likely to play like pen and paper RPGs.
Donatello?
Yes,
I agree.
He
Yes,
makes an
you're right.
espresso machine at
Yeah,
the
he
opening of
would.
the show.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
but
Also, no,
like Gabe said
Michelangelo
otherwise.
did too many tokes to.
Far too many hot tokes. That is a very good point, Marty. Thank you.
Would be the most likely to play Xbox games.
Yeah.
Atlanta got me.
Yes. also
Michelangelo
correct,
would be the
yes.
most likely to say really mean things in an online game.
No, he would not.
Yes, he would.
Raphael
Yes,
is.
he would.
Yeah, Raphael. But Raphael would just get mad and throw the
Also
controller.
agree. Yeah, no, I think that he would probably like try and befriend everyone over the mic. He'd be like, "Hey guys, this is so much fun." He wouldn't be rude to
Yeah,
people.
he'd be sending messages being like, "Good game."
Or he might be the guy who's listening to music in the background, and that's all you can hear through his mic. And you're like,
Yes.
"Turn your goddamn mic!"
Bringing it
He's just
down to
sitting there like, "Yeah."
the melodramatically serious for a minute, like the fact that Raphael is mentally ill, like when I was younger, like that was really cool for me. That was
Yeah.
one of the very first like openly had mental problems characters I ever saw in
When
a
is he-
comic.
How is he mentally ill?
Did you read the comics?
No.
Like back in
I
the
mean,
yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah, he's suicidal. He's
struggles with
got
depression real bad.
terrible anger issues.
He's the
terribly
Wolverine. He's the
depressed.
I think they
Wolverine,
even said
but he's a
he's
turtle.
Oh,
bipolar.
but Wolverine's not suicidal. Like
He can't commit
Because he
suicide.
can't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How do you
He's
know?
I'm sure Wolverine's trying to kill himself.
But I mean,
He's
well,
like, oh,
from
Yeah.
like issue 4, I think at the very, you have him with the anger, but then you've got him standing on the roof of the barn, looking down, thinking about jumping. Like there's all these wonderful moments where he's just kind of like, oh man, like I
have
like
a
that.
barn?
having a character-
Yeah, they go out in the country
When
with
did they
Casey
get
Jones'
a
uncle.
barn?
Yeah.
Hold the table. A barn?
That's
They
why
have to, yeah, it's in the movie, but it's also in the comics. They have to flee the city
Yeah.
at one point.
And they have
What
all
kind of barn is
those,
it?
all those action figures where they're dressed like different kinds of farmers.
I
And like
don't-
Donatello comes with that cow that he can milk.
That's amazing.
That didn't happen.
Damn
But
it.
no.
I was like excited to look that up later.